personally tell you, man, I apologize for all the negative stuff that I thought about you in 1989. Has it been tough that when you came out that you were still had like a dot on your back that you,
Definitely, we had a big stigma on our backs, and everywhere we went, we were highly visible. You know, you can imagine with a name like Yusef Salaam, it was hard for me to move around the city a lot easy. You know, as easy as I'm moving around right now. And there was the same amount of support that was there back then was the same amount of people that was against us back then. You know, so the balance and the scales have been shifted in our favor, which is tremendous. And I mean, we definitely appreciate everything that everybody's doing now. I mean, I don't want to say that we understand, but they did such a bang-up job with reporting this story the way that they did back in 1989 and 1990 that it caused the whole city to go against us. You know what I'm saying?
did you ever hypothetically think what would have happened if Matias Reyes wouldn't have come out? I mean,
honestly, we've all exhausted that particular idea, and the reality of the matter is that each and every one of us who were home, with the exception of Corey Wise, had already resigned that this is our lives. This is the reality that we have to face. We kind of like put a foot in front of the other and said, I guess people are gonna, they're gonna always believe that we're guilty, and those who are supporters of ours are gonna be few and far in between. But this is what we're gonna have to be faced with.
Did you at any moment start to lose faith? Because I know you're a strong man from a strong family and a strong mom. Did you at any moment start saying, "Man, it's not gonna come our way"? Did you start to lose faith in general?
I think when I was going to trial, I had a tremendous amount of hope. When I got convicted, I had a tremendous amount of hope. After I started doing my prison term, I started losing a lot of hope and began to almost live in despair, because you can imagine, here I was knowing that I was innocent for this crime that they convicted us of, but yet no matter how far and how loud we yelled, we couldn't get any justice back then. We came home to parole, we came home to Megan's Law, we came home to a whole host of atrocities that basically, as Raymond Santana said many times, this wasn't just a sentence of 5 to 10 or 5 to 15. This was a life sentence. This was essentially a death sentence. Because if the whole society could turn their backs on us and basically shut the doors in our faces so that we can never achieve any moment of success, then the problem lies with that.
That's right. Let me ask you something. When you turn on the TV and you see Mike Sheehan reporting, and when you see Donald Trump with his show, you got to cringe, man. You got to.
Well, you have to understand, man, most of these folks, if not all of these folks, build their carears on our backs. Right. They were able to rise up the corporate ladder and move into different venues that they're in right now, off of the case of the Central Park jogger. You see what I'm saying? And then when I look at that stuff, here we are. We were in the beginning of our lives, stripped of everything that we could have possibly become. And it's just now that we're beginning to receive some semblance of justice. This case right here has been moving at a snail's pace. I mean, we're talking about, this is the 10th year anniversary.
5 more years, man.
Exactly. This is really, really something.
Well, what about your kids, man? I mean, it's got to be tough on your kids. How innocent they are? Do they know what you went through?
Absolutely. I try to explain to my children all the time exactly what it was that I went through, and especially. I have 5 biological daughters, and I also have some stepchildren as well. And for the stepchildren, there's 2 boys. And the 2 boys have to understand that here they are around the same age that I was when I got locked up for this falsely arrested for this. Exactly. And so they have to understand too, especially with policies like stop and frisk, this is the stuff that was allowed to happen based off of what they did in the Central Park jogger case. You see? And my stepsons are being affected by that. They've gotten stopped a few times just because of the color of their skin, essentially.
Now, so let's talk about the kids nowadays. When you see kids with their pants below their behinds, and when you see them that they act a little unruly, like let's say just young stuff, do you cringe? Do you say, man, I was 14 years old and that cost me?
Well, I'm gonna tell you. So I was that age, and I remember walking around with my pants sagging. And I'll never forget, it was an elder. And this is the problem that we have today, I think. A lot of us don't say enough, especially in light of that. So if we said something, we don't really know who's hearing and who's listening to us. But the fact that we said it, at some point is going to resonate with them. Case in point, me. So here I was walking with my pants sagging down on 125th Street. And an elder came up to me and said, man, did you look at yourself when you walked out of the house this morning? Like, did you check yourself out in the mirror? You know, I was like, what is this guy talking about? I'm looking cool. I'm hip, you know? And sure enough, when he left me, I looked at myself in some of those mirrors that were on 125th Street, and I said, wow, I look crazy. I was about this skinny with my pants sagging. I was about this tall and this skinny. So you can imagine, I pulled my pants up and never pulled them down again.
Hey,
and let me tell you something. Image, people have to understand, even though they say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover,
They do.
everybody judges a book by its cover. If I put on a police outfit for Halloween and somebody got assaulted, you best believe that somebody's going to run down the block and see me and think that I'm a real officer, and they're going to ask me for help.
Right.
And what I'm going to say, oh, this is just a costume. You know, we got to understand, like I never forget, there was a State of Black America meeting, and it said that somebody was talking to Sharpton. Was it Sharpton or was it Farrakhan? Somebody in the black community were talking to them, and they said, the reason why we wear our clothes like this is because we reflect in our reality. And so what was said to them was, but if you are a mirror to the reality, the mirror, like when you're looking in the mirror, this is not only supposed to reflect what you see, but also to correct you. So if I realize, man, my afro is a little bit kind of slanted, I'm like gonna pick that piece out. I'm not gonna just keep on walking around with my afro slanted. Similarly with your attire. If you put your best foot forward, you should see how people change in the way that they deal with you. If everybody walked around with nice slacks on, and I'm not trying to tell people how to dress, but if they tried it, you know, I never forget, some young ladies did a study once, and they said, I want to see what it's going to be like in order for me to, if I wore clothes this way, which would be considered righteous, and I wore clothes this way, which would be considered unrighteous, what is the response that I'm going to garner? You see? So what they did was they said, okay, well, somebody put on some short shorts, a nice tight shirt on, and of course, every time they walked down the block, everybody and their mama was trying to talk to them. But when they put on something else, all of a sudden they didn't get no responses, or they got, peace, sister, how you doing?
You said, listen, man, like I tell you, we're always going to apologize, including me, and you're a class act, brother.
Man, I
I'm
appreciate
glad.
that.
I hope the city does and everybody does what they have to do to make things right.
Hey, the cat is out of the bag now.
Thanks a lot.
Where's this going?
Soy Cristel y yo quiero que tú te suscribas al canal Las 5 Esquinas.